Good morning. In Galatians 6:9, Paul gives us this wonderful encouragement. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And I want you to see a story about a nurse named Teresa Mellis who did just that.
A Lockport woman who has been on the front lines of the COVID crisis in New York City has been taking time to reflect on everything she witnessed and experienced, spending a whole 3,500 miles with her thoughts and her bicycle. Madison Carter shares her story.
There's so much negativity right now, but when you look hard enough, there's so much good.
Teresa Mellis, a Lockport native, is doing a lot of that good in the world right now. She's been a traveling PA for nearly 10 years, and that career set her up to be on the front lines of our global crisis in early March.
What am I doing here? I'm like, I'm a healthcare provider. Let's step it up, T. Let's do this.
She went to work nights at an ICU in the Bronx.
All of our patients were on vents for the most part. It was grim. It was grim.
But what she saw there also inspired her.
All these healthcare providers coming together and say, what do we know? Let's pool our knowledge. Let's try to figure this out. Let's try to save lives. And that was just awesome. It was awesome.
For 2 months, she says it was nonstop. Nights in the ICU, then she picked up extra work in urgent care during the day.
The contract was for 25 days straight. And then you could, and then you could renew your contract, so I did. Yeah, I knew it was gonna be hard, and it was hard. Dealing with patients that are suffering, their family members, that was really, really tough. But I think we all came out stronger on the other side of it.
In early May, Mellis returned home, but not for long. She needed a way to decompress.
I can't leave the U.S., so I'll just bike across the U.S. That seems like a really good thing to do.
Mellis booked a one-way ticket to Portland with no plan at all. She bought a bike on Craigslist there, then hit the road the next morning.
And I would look at the roads and kind of just figured out the night before is essentially what I would do.
For 32 days, she was biking anywhere between 100 to 130 miles each day.
I was just praying every day. I'm like, I could be in the ICU. I have 2 healthy lungs. I got a healthy body, healthy mind. I am so blessed right now. I'm so blessed.
She biked all the way to this moment in Staten Island Wednesday.
Finishing it in the place that I had so much emotion, connected to, it was really powerful.
In the end, she says this trip was not about her. It was about the people she met along the way.
People came together. People are rallying. They're longing for a connection.
Madison Carter, 7 Eyewitness News.
And I see 3 different ways in this story that Teresa really didn't grow weary in doing good and reaped a harvest. The first was she recognized that if we're going to do good, we have to be intentional about it. She's in Buffalo, and she realizes they need help in New York City, and so she answers the call. She's intentional about it. Second thing is when we're going to do good and we're not going to grow weary, we have to push even harder and perhaps more than we think that we can. She signed up for a 25-day term and then signed up for another 25-day term and then worked part-time as well during the days to try to help with that crisis. She may not have known she could do that until she tried. There's this wonderful maxim in the running world that the miracle of recovery, that if you push yourself a little harder than you think you can go, that you actually recover stronger than before when you started. Not just up to the level, but you recover stronger. In a sense, I think that Teresa learned the miracle of recovery. And then she learned that if you do those 2 things, if you're intentional about your doing good and you are willing to push yourself a little harder than you think you can, that when you take a break for yourself, and I think that's very important, that we don't grow weary in doing good. One of the ways we do that is we take a break. But we don't take a break from doing good. We just take a break and do something different, something for ourselves. And while she was doing that, she discovered that she still was doing good, still was reaping a harvest as she met all of these wonderful people and discovered all of this good as she biked all the way across the United States. So we don't have to work 50 days in a row. We don't have to bike all the way across the United States. And yet, let me encourage each one of us, as I am encouraging myself, do some good today. Maybe even pushing yourself a little harder than you think you can go, to do some good this day, and you will reap a harvest. We are promised if you don't give up. We can do this because God is with us. Amen.